I'm excited, actually. Welcome to Women, Wealth, and What Matters. I'm Tracy Burns. I'm a financial advisor, MBA, CDFA, Vice President of Women and Investing at Liebenthal Global Advisors. I spent my career covering the markets, taxes, money, and now my big ol' soapbox mission is to help women take control of their financial lives. Because here's the truth. You don't need jargon. You don't need to feel intimidated. That's just silly. You just need someone to explain everything clearly so you can take the ball and run with it. Everyone talks about saving more money, but almost no one explains exactly where that money should go. That's what we're going to do today. That's what matters because it's not how much you save, it's where you save it that determines how it's going to grow, how it's going to be taxed, and how flexible it's going to be for you later when you retire to your home in Hawaii on that beautiful golf course or wherever it is that you want to live. All right, and add a quick qualifier here. When we say saving, I don't just mean cash in a bank account, or if you're old like me, under your mattress. It's funny, when I say put your money under your mattress, like my kids look at me like, why would you do that? But it's funny that we used to say that. So don't put your money under your mattress. Don't put it in like your sock drawer. We have to save it. All right, so we're going to put it in places where it can grow over time. And if you ever felt like you should understand this stuff, but you don't, it's just not you. As I've said this 1,000 times, this stuff is not explained. It's not taught in school. No one talks about this, even in the finance classes in colleges across America. No one talks about that. So today we're going to break down the 5 main accounts, main savings vehicles that every woman should basically know about. All right, so here we go. More importantly, though, you should actually understand how to use them and where to use them. And actually, I should say when to use them. Okay, now before we dive in, please do not forget to check out our previous podcasts. We just did 5 market terms that we pretend to understand, but we don't actually know what they mean. That one's a really good one. I love the 5 ways to stay calm when the headlines are loud because, man, are they loud these days. So go back, please check out the old ones. But today we're going to talk about what you need to know about these savings accounts. All right, let's start with the workplace retirement accounts first. Everyone, if you have a W-2, you have a job, you probably are offered a retirement account. 401k is the private company's version. 403b is what the schools, hospitals, nonprofit organizations use. So does anyone really even know what they are? Okay, so they are named after their code in the tax code. 401k is a tax code that allows you to defer your income, pay tax on it later, so you can save for retirement. Same thing with that 403b. That's for private schools, hospitals, nonprofits. Same thing. You can put money away today. You do not pay tax on it. It grows. You save for later, all because of this place in the tax code. It's really, really simple. So don't let these fancy tax code names intimidate you. It's just the legal language. The simple explanation is it's a bucket and you're going to put your money away for the future. And I'm telling you, you're going to do it, especially if you get a match from your company, which we'll get to in a second. But the government is going to give you a tax break for being studious and trying to plan for your future. Now, the reason why 401ks and 403bs are first on my list here is because of this employer match. If your employer matches your contribution, that is free money. Okay? That's pre-tax free money too. So you contribute into these accounts before taxes, you lower your taxable income today, your money grows tax deferred. You pay taxes later. The idea being that when you retire, your tax bracket's going to be lower, right? You're going to have this great, beautiful career and make all this money and be on all these high tax brackets. The idea being when you start to pull out of these retirement accounts, you're not earning as much. You're in a lower tax bracket. So it makes more sense to pay tax then than as opposed to today. The match, many companies offer a percentage, 4%, 5%. They will match up to a particular contribution amount. Please, I beg you, please at least put in the amount they match to because that is the free money they're giving you. And if you don't, you're leaving it on the table and you will kick yourself in retirement when you're potentially living in that shoebox or refrigerator box instead of that beautiful house in Hawaii on the golf course. Fees matter. These investments, they give you all these options. Pay attention. The 403b people especially. Lots of fees in those investment options in those plans. Pay attention. Please reach out to me. I am happy to help you pick off good ones. Okay, this isn't a set it and forget it thing, right? You should be paying attention to the investment choices you make. Be very careful of those target funds. I can't stand them. You can reach out to me and I explain to you why. I do not think they're the right answer. I would love to rather you put it in an S&P 500 fund and just let it ride. Be very careful. Reach out. Big takeaway here. At a minimum, get the match. Please get the match. Okay. Now we're going to move on to the second savings vehicle that you should really, really be in tune with. And we're going to dig deeper into this in another podcast. But that Roth IRA, there is a lot of reasons why this is now a game changer. We got to define this. Let's define what it is. IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. A Roth Individual Retirement Account is basically the same thing with different tax consequences. It's a retirement account you open, not your employer, you, unless it's a self-employed person's IRA, which we'll talk about later, but a regular IRA, you open yourself. So a 401k, you go through work, an IRA, you do it on your own, but this is a very, very powerful version of this IRA, this Roth. Now, especially for young people, women starting out. I love this thing. So the beauty of this thing is you contribute after tax dollars. So herein lies the biggest difference between your 401k and your Roth. Your Roth is pre-tax dollars. That means there's no tax taken out of those dollars because you're paying tax on them later when you ride off into the sunset. The Roth IRA, on the other hand, is after tax dollars. So this matters because then you put this money in this Roth IRA account and it grows tax-free. So the contributions grow tax-free. Now you've paid tax on the contributions already, and any kind of growth is tax-free, which means when you pull this money out in retirement, no tax. Brilliant. Brilliant. You don't want all your money taxed the same way. I get it. But Roth gives you flexibility. Now, here's the thing. Many of you are saying to yourself, okay, well, based on what you just said to me, I should be in a lower tax bracket in retirement. Why then should I do the Roth? Okay, maybe, but maybe not. Maybe you're going to hit it and still be making gazillion dollars up until the day you die. Now you get to pull this money out completely tax free. So if you can think about this and do both, you have the 401k at work, you open yourself a Roth. Now you have the flexibility here of both types of withdrawals in retirement. So some of my contributions I might owe tax on, but some I might owe nothing. And that's a really beautiful thing. I don't care how much money you have to be able to take money out of something and not owe 1 red cent to the government. Last thing I'm going to mention is a Roth 401k, which is available at work in a lot of places now. This is a quick ad here. We're going to talk about this at a later date, but it trips people up all the time. If you have the option of a Roth 401k at work, which basically is a Roth inside your 401k, please, I beg you, if you're young, take it. Take it, take it, take it. You will not see as much of a break on your tax return, admittedly. But when you're young and you're not earning a lot of money, you're barely going to notice it tax-wise because, again, it's after tax dollars, right? So your wages will be entirely taxed. Then they'll take a piece of it and put it in that Roth 401k. It's after tax dollars, right? Whereas with the 401k, you're making a contribution, but it's actually decreasing your tax bill. That's pretty great. I get it. But if you're young, this is my favorite thing. Please. I understand you sometimes want a tax break today, and if you're in a position where you need them, then go the traditional route, 401k. But you want that tax-free income later in life, consider the Roth. It's not an either or, it can be both. And this is where planning gets really interesting. You're deciding how your future income is going to be taxed today. You're planning. You're planning for the 75-year-old self. I think that's really cool. All right, quick note, Roth IRAs do have income limitations. So check your adjusted gross income against these things and make sure you still qualify for them. But that's why young people especially should be doing this, because eventually you will make too much money and not be able to even contribute to a Roth. But the really cool part will be everything is sitting there waiting for you in retirement. I kind of love that. All right, don't overthink it. Just know these rules exist. If nothing else, know the words to ask. That's it. Let's get back to this traditional IRA. Traditional IRAs are really great. And when you leave a company that has a 401k, you end up rolling your 401k into a traditional IRA. They call it a rollover IRA, but it has to stay in that same kind of pre-tax structure, that pre-tax vehicle. All right. So it's the same thing. You're not paying tax now. So you get a deduction. You get a deduction on your return now when you put money into traditional, but you are totally taxed later. Again, I put money in an IRA today. I get a nice little break on my tax return today. But tomorrow, when I take money out of that thing, or when I'm 75, I'm paying tax. Let's be real. You're paying tax at some point on all your money. It's just a matter of when. Uncle Sam is getting his share. It's just a matter of when you're going to give it to him. So the reason this traditional IRA comes after the Roth is because most people like the flexibility of having no tax later in life. So if you could do that first. It's not your default, but it just gives you flexibility for later. That's all I'm saying. But consider all of these things. Okay. Okay, the next one, number 4, is a health savings account. This, to me, is the secret weapon people do not take advantage of. Now, these health savings accounts are meant to, again, put away pre-tax dollars. So you are not paying tax on these things. Again, this comes off your tax return. No taxes on this money. You put it away as for these ridiculously high healthcare costs we have these days. They're going up by the second. So sure, you have healthcare coverage at work, but oftentimes you still have to dip into your own pocket to pay for stuff. You can fund a health savings account and use those dollars to cover your medical expenses. You probably have to submit a receipt to prove that it's for a medical expense and not a manicure. But either way, that's what they're for. The thing is, though, these are the ultimate savings vehicles. If there's a version or a way that you don't ever have to touch these things, I'm telling you to consider this. Now, just hear me out. It is so, as I mentioned, tax deductible money going in. That means tax free. It goes in. It also grows tax free. Those withdrawals then become tax free as well. Yes. People completely miss this. You can invest. Many times you have choices as to what to invest in. Think of your health savings account not as the thing you're going to use to cover your CVS bill, but as another vehicle to save for retirement. That's really what we should be calling these things, an additional retirement vehicle. The health savings account part trips people up because they do end up using it for healthcare type things. But I'm telling you, if you can, if you can manage it, if you can afford it, think of a HSA almost like a 401k. It's retirement work. It's retirement savings. It's retirement on your own. Okay, so let's think of all these things now in stages. So your 401k, your 403b, that's your work retirement stuff, your retirement through work. If you open an IRA, that is your retirement on your own because your boss doesn't contribute to your IRA. You do. And then you have this beautiful healthcare savings vehicle. That to me is just like an added boost. It like turbocharges your retirement planning. So think of that and just consider all of them at some point. Let's talk through right now the steps because I know that it feels like there's a lot of things and then some level you should be doing them all. You should not be doing them all because there's too many things and I think it's overwhelming, hence the podcast. So where does your money go first? It's very simple. It goes to that 401k so that you can get that match or 403b so you can get that match. That is first and foremost. That is, of course, after you've established an emergency fund. You need that emergency fund. Please tell me you have that emergency fund at this point, or we called it a pivot fund in a previous podcast. Please make sure you have that 3 to 6 month living set aside, invested in something very simple. No risk there. That money is there and ready for you when you need it. If COVID taught us anything, we all need emergency funds. Okay? All right. So now we're going to start to think of your money as like a little bit of a waterfall. It all kind of flows in order. So here we go. That emergency fund, 6 to 12, that's got to be first. That's a non-negotiable here. You have it's cash. It's in stable. It's not invested in anything Looney Tunes. Like you're not putting it on Tesla and hoping for the best. It's in money market funds. It's in something very safe, but it's there. Step two, as I said, is that 401k to the match. That is free money. And then we have some strategic order here. I personally think next on the list should be that HSA if you're not, especially if you're not going to use it for healthcare. Then think about that Roth as long as your income is still there. As long as you're under those income limits, go for it. A traditional IRA is always a good idea if you have extra money. And again, you're under the income limitations. And then if you have extra money after all that stuff, go blow that 401k up. You could even put after tax dollars there if you want to. Go back. But think of all these things, consider all these things, use them to your benefit. That health savings account really has the best tax treatment because the money you put in is basically never taxed. It comes out tax free. The Roth offers you tons of flexibility. The traditional IRA is there for you, and that 401k to the match. Look, not all dollars are equal. It really matters where you put them and how you use them and how the government taxes them. Because $1 in one account is very different than $1 in another account. Okay? Please reach out to me and ask me questions because I get this stuff's confusing. The last thing I'm going to say and mention are 529s. Now, this in theory would be number 6 on my list here. And the reason I'm mentioning it is because women, especially, we worry about our kids. We have to stop worrying about the kids. If they're smart enough to get into college, they're smart enough to figure themselves out. But a 529, if you have little ones or babies, beautiful idea, presuming you did all the other things, presuming you saved for you first. You saved for your retirement. You're like, I'm good. I'm on a good track. I put I'm maxing out my 401k. I'm getting the match. I do my HSA. I was able to fund a Roth. I'm doing good. Now I have these little people running around. I got to worry about their college education. Okay, fine. Do a 529 plan. Again, code 529 is the code in the tax code. It is lower priority for me because those people will grow up to be able to be borrowers. They can borrow money to pay for their college education. You cannot borrow money to fund your retirement. Please, please, please. Okay? Okay. Your future first, then their education. But the 529, again, you put after tax dollars in, the money grows. They could take it out and pay for college tax free. Amazing. Amazing. Consider it. Last thing I'm going to say today is people get the emergency fund brokerage account, investment account thing all messed up. The emergency fund, I really want you to think about safe, liquid stuff. If I say, you should be able to say to your advisor, I want my emergency fund in something that I can get to in maximum 48 hours. That's it. I need it in 48 hours. And really, that's the stock market too. I just would hate to see your emergency fund go on the volatile ride that is the stock market some days. You would like it to be safe so you could sleep at night, but you can get money out of a stock in 48 hours as well. You don't want it in private credit or like all the creepy stuff that's out there that keeps everything illiquid. We don't want that. We want to have liquid money in case of emergency. Okay. All right. Look, many people have a strategy problem. And I have a behavior problem. It's not a knowledge problem. It's a strategy problem. We just need to strategize these things because they're all there and available to you. And we all should be using them. And the problem is when you don't know the lingo or the language or there are too many things in front of you, you just don't know where to start. And that often creates inertia. And I get it. I get it. You're like, I don't get it, so I'm not doing it. Trust me, I get it. But you don't need to do everything all at once. You don't need to know everything all at once. You just need to be able to ask a bunch of great questions. Go to your HR, ask about the 401k or the 403b. Go to your advisor, ask if a Roth is the right thing. If you're under the income limits, 9 times out of 10, he or she's going to say yes. You don't need perfection. You don't need complexity. You just need a starting point. We need to start savings. So, I just did a podcast actually this morning, and we were talking about how social media has created this like culture of instant gratification. We need to have everything today. We need to keep up with whoever. Again, I'm old enough to say, we used to say keeping up with the Joneses. Nobody even knows who the Joneses are these days. But we're all trying to keep up with each other. We should be saving for ourselves. I almost encourage you to shut that off for a minute and think about how you're going to help you and your future. Because once you understand where your money should go, you stop feeling overwhelmed. When you understand what you're saving for you, not for social media, you stay on path. You stop second guessing. You start making confident decisions. That's it. Period and story. It's your plan, not theirs. It's your future, not theirs. By the way, those people on social media, they're not going to save you in retirement. No shot. They're probably going to be long gone too, by the way, but that's a whole nother thing. All right. Next time I'm going to do a deeper dive into the Roth and why I think it's so fabulous. I'm also going to do something for the kids coming out of college and starting their first job, because the questions that I've gotten from my own kids blow my head off. These are finance and accounting majors in college, and they don't know some of the most important things. So we're going to do something for the college kids. But please share this with someone who needs it. Share this with someone who's totally confused and doesn't know how to save or where to even begin, because it's not the jar on the kitchen counter. And as I said earlier, under your mattress. My kids laugh at me every time I say that. This is stuff we are supposed to have learned, but we were never taught. So please do not feel bad about asking questions. All right. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, of course, YouTube. And if you ever want to continue this conversation with me, you know where to find me. It's tracyburnswealth.com. And of course, I'm at Tracy Burns on LinkedIn, Insta, all the things. Please reach out. I'm here if you need me. I'll see you next time. Lebenthal Financial Services, Inc. is a FINRA registered broker-dealer. The content of this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not intended to be investment advice. The views expressed in this podcast are subject to change based on market and other conditions. Information about the qualifications and business practices of Lebenthal Global Advisors, LLC is available on the SEC's website at www.advisorinfo.sec.gov. Information about the qualifications and business practices of Lebenthal Financial Services, Inc. and its representatives can be found on FINRA's BrokerCheck website, which is brokercheck.finra.org.